What's up? In the first video, we're going to jump into easy and cheap biohacks that will help you stay slim this holiday season. So without further ado, let's jump in and use some science and science-backed tools that we can utilize within our lifestyle easily to biohack our way to avoid excess weight gain this holiday season. The first thing I want to jump into and cover is cold exposure. So I know cold exposure, cold plunges, cold tubs have become extremely popular, and you probably see them on every single social media account, or all of our friends are buying them, or all the guys are doing them in whatever group. Now, there's a lot of benefit to these for recovery, for mental focus, for clarity, and just to do hard stuff. But when it comes to burning some extra calories this holiday season, just consistent amounts of cold exposure can really help the body improve its ability to burn calories faster. Now, I'm not saying cold exposure is going to make you burn body fat like a lot of people mislead people, but understanding the science behind it. So if we get into cold exposure, we do a cold plunge, or even just a cold shower consistently, that's going to signal the body to produce something called brown fat. Now we have brown fat, we have white fat. White fat is the fat that we all want to get rid of, that's hanging over our belly, that we can squeeze, that we can pull, that we don't like. Brown fat is something very good. Just because it says fat doesn't mean it's always bad. So brown fat is the fat that accumulates in our body when we're exposed to cold temperatures on a consistent basis. So the more we expose ourselves to cold temperatures, our body is going to say, hey, I need to accumulate more brown fat so that my body can warm up faster because I keep getting exposed to cold temperatures. So the reason it's called brown fat is because there's more mitochondria density inside that fat that helps the body warm up. So if you've ever taken a cold shower, or if you've ever done a cold plunge, or jumped in a cold lake or a stream or a cold pool, when you jump out, you've kind of got that shiver response. That's your body's response to try to warm your body back up to that homeostasis or that body temperature that it needs. That's a great process in sending that signal to the body that it needs more brown fat. So cold exposure, just slight amounts of cold exposure every day can really help increase calorie burn via brown fat in the body. The second biohack that's very common in the industry that a lot of people aren't using correctly in this time of year is intermittent fasting. So intermittent fasting is an outstanding tool, right? It's not just a weight loss program, or it's not just to get you, it's not a magical pill or potion, but it's something you can use strategically in your lifestyle this holiday season to minimize the excess weight gain via not eating too many calories throughout that day. So a lot of time the issue with people is they go into the holiday season and they eat the same amount of calories they're already eating, plus those holiday meals, which again, if we get too many calories over time, we're going to have excess calories, not a lot of expenditure through movement or exercise, and that gets stored as body fat. So understand that using intermittent fasting, we can push back our eating window. Maybe we don't have breakfast. Maybe we push back breakfast. Or maybe we just, on the days we have these large events, we're going to want to utilize intermittent fasting. So say on Thanksgiving Day, if you're going to have Thanksgiving meal at noon or 2 or 3, maybe you're going to fast throughout the morning, have a small protein-based meal prior to that larger meal, and then go and enjoy yourself, knowing that you've kind of cut that first 1 or 2 meals of the day, that now you have some calories you normally would have eaten that have been saved for that later meal in the day. Understanding intermittent fasting and its nuances is important because intermittent fasting is a stressor to the body. So don't feel like you're going to go run in there and just skip meals for 2 weeks and lose a bunch of weight, because that's not how it works. But ideally, on the days of your holiday meals or events, maybe push back breakfast, maybe even skip breakfast and have a high protein meal prior to that larger meal, about an hour or 2 prior, to really help satiate you, where you won't be overeating or get to that main meal and be so hungry that you will overeat or put yourself in a position where you can't stop eating. Number 3 kind of leads into the next one I just talked about, is protein preloading. So this is something that a lot of people miss, but it's very important. Just like utilizing intermittent fasting, protein preloading is exactly what it sounds. Preload protein prior to that large holiday meal or holiday season or party that you're going to. It can be something as simple as a whey protein shake with a small amount of olive oil in it or avocado oil, add in maybe some psyllium husk or some fiber supplement to help satiate you so that when you go to that larger meal, your blood sugar is going to be more stable and you're less likely to overeat. I'm sure we've heard that adage where you drink a big glass of water before a meal, sure, but it's even more important to protein preload. So say you're going to Thanksgiving dinner or you're going to Christmas dinner, about an hour to hour and a half before that meal, have a high protein meal. Say it's cottage cheese or Greek yogurt or a protein smoothie, something that is high in protein. It's going to be lower in fat, lower in carbohydrate, but just something to preload that protein, stabilize our blood sugar, satiate us so we're not starving going into that meal, and then go and enjoy that meal. And in the next couple videos, I will show you some other strategies when you get to the meal where you can have your preload protein, then get to the meal and utilize some eating strategies that will further help you not overeat or overindulge that leads us mostly to that excess weight gain during the holiday season. And then lastly, when it comes to the biohacks, we've got to talk about natural appetite suppressants, understanding how our body works and utilizing some very easy things you might actually have in your cupboard at home right now that can help mitigate those hunger cravings or mitigate how much you actually eat or mitigate the damage from eating too much, because excessive food or overeating can cause excessive inflammation in the body, can cause us to overeat, like I mentioned, can disrupt our sleep, can make us feel terrible, make us feel lazy, and it can lead us down that road of the holiday season where we come out of that in mid-January and are pretty frustrated with ourselves because we overate for 2 or 3 or maybe 5 weeks, and now we feel like we have to jumpstart ourselves or get back in shape. So one of my top 3 are going to be Ceylon cinnamon, apple cider vinegar, and utilizing digestive bitters. So with Ceylon cinnamon, something as easy as putting that on top of that yogurt we talked about or the cottage cheese prior to that meal, or even doing a small, maybe a half a teaspoon, quarter teaspoon into a cup of water, and then drinking that prior. Just the natural compounds in Ceylon cinnamon can help to stabilize your blood sugar prior to a meal. And that's really the issue when we have our holiday meals or we're having all these sweets. It's this roller coaster ride of blood sugar, right? Eating these lower quality foods or these high sugar foods or these high fat foods that have us constantly consuming. It puts us on this roller coaster of blood sugar dysregulation that leads us to eat more, and we just can't stop eating all that good food. So something easy as some Ceylon cinnamon for about 30 minutes to 45 minutes prior to a meal can actually help minimize the blood sugar load or impact on the body in that holiday meal and or event that you're going to. Same thing with apple cider vinegar. You can take a tablespoon or so of apple cider vinegar, 8 ounces of water, and swish that back. Again, it tastes like vinegar, but it's something quick to put into your belly prior to your meal. So maybe you have your protein shake or your protein loaded meal an hour out, and then maybe a half an hour out to 45 minutes out, we do our apple cider vinegar. Then we go into that meal. And then we integrate some of the strategies I'll talk about in the next video to really minimize the overeating and overindulging. And then lastly, just utilizing digestive bitters. Digestive bitters are utilized a lot in cocktails, utilized a lot in craft cocktails or a lot of bars and restaurants. But these are great to use as a digestif after dinner to help improve digestion after the meal. But it's also important to maybe add in prior to your meal to really help stabilize blood sugar again and minimize that roller coaster ride that we usually get from eating these holiday meals or holiday treats. So again, I hope these help. Try some of these biohacks into your daily routine leading up and on the holiday day or that event day, and see how some of these are going to help you or positively help you make better choices and avoid that unnecessary weight gain. So again, I'll see you in the next video. We're going to talk about holiday eating strategies so you can have a guilt-free season and enjoy the foods that you love. See you in the next video.